Leonard Fournette threw another victory party on Saturday, but this time he invited some of his friends to play too. And this weekend's opponent received some real bad news. This and more coming up next on Tuesday's Talkin Tigers. Welcome to Talkin Tigers. I'm Jim Derry. It was another victory for LSU on Saturday in Death Valley, but this one was a little different. For the first time since 1973, someone other than Leonard Fournette was the Tigers' leading rusher. Okay, so I exaggerate just a teensy bit, but it is indeed true that Derrius Guice outgained number 7 by 3 yards, 161 to 158, and he was named the SEC Freshman of the Week. To talk about this and all sorts of fun things, let's bring in LSU beat writer Jarrett Roser. And welcome back, Mr. Roser. Interesting game on Saturday, huh?
Yeah, I think the fact that we saw so many people do big things other than Leonard Fournette was pretty interesting and a good sign for that football team.
Definitely. Let's get right into the pick six. I want to talk about something that's been mentioned quite a bit, but it bears repeating one last time. The Tiger staff, students, and fans, they should be lauded for their hospitality and welcoming South Carolina players and fans. It was sort of an amazing day.
Yeah, it was really interesting to watch, particularly before and after the game with the introduction of the South Carolina team and everybody cheering for them and their video montage on the screen, the big video boards. And then at the end when both teams went to the LSU student section and LSU band for their alma maters one after another was really a cool moment. I asked some of the South Carolina players about that and they said it was a really unique deal, but no doubt that during the game itself, they very much felt like they were on the road, but they appreciated the hospitality before and after.
Yeah, as a former member of the Golden Band from Tigerland, I thought that was pretty cool. Let's go to number 2, and some big news yesterday. Looks like the LSU-South Carolina game was the last one for South Carolina coach Steve Spurrier. Quite a shock. I mean, I know he's 70 years old, but one of those guys you just never expect to retire, I guess.
Yeah, and I was thinking about last night how weird that was that I ended up being there for his last game, his last post-game press conference and all those things. I mean, you could see people actually, I think, commenting on our website mentioned you could tell he was limping a little bit, and really throughout the season with every week I started to feel less and less confident that he might be back after this year. And obviously, I mean, press conference today to announce that was his last game, which it's really weird after such a long career, and he's been such a fixture at the college level.
He looked like he couldn't wait to get off the field Saturday, so I guess in hindsight it's not that big of a surprise. Let's turn to number 3, and Derrius Guice outshines Leonard. You saw him quite a bit at Catholic High, and what a talent this kid is.
Yeah, I don't know how surprised I am really that he's had such a big start. He ends up being the leading rusher, as you've mentioned, Saturday. I think he's averaging something like 9 yards a carry so far this season. And I'm trying to get over to Catholic and talk to a couple of his former coaches this week because you saw the way he ran against some pretty good defenses in high school and the way he performed in the couple practices we got to see prior to this season. And you knew he had all the ability in the world, and I mean, it's coming quick for him as a freshman.
Waiting for the old Statue of Liberty to play, to be broken out on LSU's campus, or maybe he'll throw a pass or something. He's going to do something silly.
Some of the plays he made in high school were just so ridiculous that
no doubt
he was consistently really good. But then there were some of those plays, maybe not quite like the Leonard Auburn defender going off his shoulder, but just ridiculous plays that made you realize this guy was something special.
I think he beat Mandeville by himself last year. I'm not quite sure. But number 4, let's turn to number 8, Florida, and they got some really tough news. As you know, freshman standout quarterback Will Grier was suspended for the rest of the season for PED use. That's a huge hit to Florida and a big break for LSU.
Yeah, it's weird the way this season is shaped up for LSU. This will be the 4th straight opponent, as a lot of folks started talking about yesterday, that will have had a quarterback change coming into the LSU game. And then the week prior to that streak starting, Auburn, we saw Jeremy Johnson a couple days before he got benched after the performance at Tiger Stadium. And I mean, that's just part of a lot of weirdness of this LSU season. But it's going to be interesting to see how Florida handles it, because it seemed like an emotional day for them yesterday talking about some of that news.
Les working his Grier magic going on over there or something? Michigan Grier.
Some Bayou voodoo, something's going on.
Something's going on.
Things are lining up for LSU.
They definitely are. Let's see if it keeps going that way. Number 5, what kind of mental effect do you think this is going to have on the Gators?
It looked like it was a tough thing for them to handle yesterday, but at the same time, I guess talking to some folks last night and this morning, they're feeling pretty confident about where they are this season, and coming out to Baton Rouge this weekend. That's going to be a big hurdle for them to overcome, but they've got a guy that, he's played in big games for them before, that they feel good about, and
I'm sure he's looking forward to playing against LSU.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I think everyone in this game is looking forward to playing this game. The Florida and LSU rivalry has been such a big rivalry over the years, and then with Trayon not being able to play last year, last year. Yeah. I think he certainly would like to have his chance with the close way that ended in favor of LSU, and that defense he's got on the other side of the ball from him. The Gators defense is certainly a strong group, so I think they'll happily come and see if they can do their best to contain Leonard Fournette and get after Brandon and all those other guys.
Well, lastly, do the Tigers, did they now have to worry about a false sense of security? And with all the stuff going on in Florida, does it maybe lull LSU to sleep a little bit?
That's something I think you've kind of always got to guard against on these weird weeks, and as things kind of fall against your opponents. And really, it's something that I think they've kind of needed to guard against a lot of this season as things started going positively. Coaches talk about being able to deal with adversity, but also how to be able to deal with success. And they've had some games where LSU does seem like they're a little bit of asleep at times, or they just have some miscues, whether it be penalties or special teams or just busted coverages. And you could see the attitude was that they felt good about their ability. They just needed to fix some things focus-wise. And they're at a point in the season now with Florida and then the other SEC games coming up after the bye in a couple weeks, where they can't afford to have those lapses in focus quite so much. So that's something they're going to have to work on this week as well as the rest of the season. No doubt. Hey, thanks. And next week, maybe one of these weeks, we got to get you and Amos together, and Amos Morale, and you do your new rap. We got to mix it up a little bit. If you bring that up with Amos, he will get so salty talking about how we haven't been in the studio in so long, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, man, we have jobs that are really busy right now. Come on, man. We gotta find time for the fun stuff. I think it hurts Amos every day we don't record a new song. All right, well, we're going to work on that. See you next week, bud. Thanks, guys. All right. For Tuesday's Extra Point, we first take a look at the last time the Tigers started the season 5-0. And Purple and Gold fans will hope that history doesn't repeat itself. It was 3 seasons ago, as LSU opened with wins against 4 Patsies and Auburn in Game 4. In the 6th game of the season, the 4th-ranked Tigers traveled to Gainesville and lost to the 11th-ranked Florida Gators 14-6. They rebounded with wins over South Carolina and Texas before losing 21-17 in number 1 Alabama. The season ended with a 25-24 loss to Clemson in the Chick-fil-A Bowl and a 10-3 record. Well, that's it for today. We'll be back on Friday to take more of an in-depth look at the Gators, sans Will Grier, and try to get a better idea of the Tigers' game plan. And hey, don't forget to vote in our poll. See you Friday.